What's up, y'all? This is Tyron here at The Journey, and I made a podcast about a week ago. Some of y'all might have heard it. It's called The Intro. It's just an audio, had some slides in there, and I told y'all we was gonna do, obviously, open convos, visual, and this is my man Arthur Graham, and y'all know me. I'm Tyron. I'm T.
Why do I always?
I don't know. I know. All right.
Part of it, I guess, man.
All right. Here we go.
So, okay. We're sitting here and we're talking about the journey. And we want to give you guys an in-depth look of two people jumping out on faith, going after what it is that they want in life.
On faith.
So, everything's going to be real time. Part of what we feel the call is to come up with this and to share it with you and do these YouTube videos and whatnot and put ourselves all the way out there. You're going to see me messing with my tooth in my mouth and looking crazy. I'll sound square. He'll stumble over his words and it'll be just what it is. But I want you guys to see, right, see the progression.
Right.
Because that's what this is, man. This is a process. This is the journey.
Yes, the journey. Not something that we've taken. This is real time taking the journey, day by day, the progression. So I have entered, I'm in the process, or I'll say the transition of entering that every year, every 6 months or whatever. I have progressed to this moment. And as the day goes on, I'm progressing even more to wholeheartedly going after what I want to do and all of what I am. And art, you've done. You have. You have. You stepped out there. He's out there. He's out there on the water. We talk about walking on the water, walking out there doing the impossible, doing what people may be afraid to do. That, to be honest, I was afraid to do. Adopting a whole different thinking and mindset.
So let me ask you, we're talking again, framework is the intro into the journey.
The intro.
So this is kind of pre-journey, if you will.
Right.
Let me ask you, this is the first thing that comes to mind. Is the journey for everybody? Meaning, is it natural for everyone to feel like they should go on that journey to grow into something more?
Well, I think the journey is for everybody. Now, defining what the journey is you being you, the full you without compromise, and going after what you love to do without compromise. And that thing that, for me, what was even in me as a kid, entertaining those things, because I've identified myself, like y'all know from the podcast, that with basketball, since I was, 8 or 9. So now I've grown to this place of like, man, there's these other things inside of me that I now want to go after and give attention to. And that's the journey, right? The journey is not this journey that we have a path for you, but it's this journey that you going to accomplish your full self. That may take, like my journey, in life of working these jobs for different companies, whatever, until you grow into this and come to this realization. Because now I've become awakened to the fact, man, I can go after this and just go after all the things that are inside of me. And there are resources out there for that. But like he talked about, faith. It takes, it takes some courage. It takes courage and faith to do that. And so I do believe the journey is for everybody. I do believe that.
I think that there's a natural thing inside of every person that, either you're growing or you're dying.
Right.
Everything in nature is either growing or dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that everybody in their own individual way has a desire to grow, whether it's to grow from being the fry cook to the cashier, or it's, growth from being the assistant manager to manager. Right. I think that everybody has it in them to want to grow,
aspire to
want
right.
to do better. It just boils down to belief and whether or not they believe that they can be that better version of themselves. So, in entering into the journey, one of the questions that we always ask each other is, what would your perfect day look like?
What would your ideal day look like? Right. We always ask that to each other. Yeah.
Right. So, if everything could be exactly how you want it to be, what would life look like for you? And if that doesn't match up with what you're doing,
if what you're doing now doesn't match up with that ideal,
right, then realize there's a gap between the two.
Right.
And you've got to enter that gap and go across it to reach what your ideal day would be.
So, and we've talked about this before too, but like going across it, you said there's a gap, and then you said going across it. So that will require, a change of direction, right? I mean, because if you're going from one one thing across this gap to this other thing, then I mean you are in a sense.
I think more than a change of direction, there's a realization that I'm not where I want to be.
Right.
I think that's the first thing that has to.
And that's what I kept saying on the podcast. Right. That there's more to. There has to be more.
Right.
This is void.
So in saying that, describe that feeling. How do you know that you're thinking about something else, or how do you know that you're thinking about more? Or how do you know that it's over for basketball at this particular time and you need to step out into something else?
Right. I don't.
How did you identify that you even need to take the journey?
I mean, I became, not dissatisfied, but just not totally complete within myself.
Right. Like give us some, very tangible examples. Like for me, I hated waking. Okay, so a little bit of background. Before stepping out into the journey, I was in property management, and I had about 1,000 units to my name. Not personally, but again, managing them for someone. Mm-hmm. And man, I remember there being days where I just hated doing the work. Wasn't even going into work because I actually liked the people I worked with.
Right.
We had fun.
Right.
But it was doing the work. I knew there was almost no meaning to it for me. So I knew that something had to change.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened. That's what's happened with me, even with this journey of this relationship that I've had with basketball is, I don't know, I just come to a place where, man, there's more to me than that. And there's other passions that I have. Mm-hmm. Like writing, just to be very honest, writing and speaking, and even going into the fitness arena too. And so I want to give attention to those things. And it's not that I'm quitting basketball, but basketball has to take a back seat to these other things inside of me. Because I mean, we're talking about since I was like 8 or 9,
right?
You know, and then you have to go back and think about when that started, and then why I identified myself with basketball. You know, because we've had that conversation before too.
Sure.
About why I identified myself. Was it insecurities in myself, and I just attached myself to this thing? Is it a cultural thing? I've had that thought before too. And so I'm just of the belief that God has put more in me than just one thing.
Right.
There, I believe that, just us being a created being in itself is more than just this way or that way. It's a combination of things. And that's the journey. It's going after all that I am without compromising and without, honestly, being concerned about how much money I get paid or not get paid. But that's easier said than done because I still think about it. I still think about it. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm thinking about now. It's like, it's man, okay, I want to go after this, but man, what's going to take the place of me not making money?
Right.
And honestly, that's the question. That's the response I get from, other people that's kind of, mentors in a sense.
Sure.
Parental in a sense. People that are older and have lived life a little longer. It's like, what's in place for this? I've always been taught, don't leave a place until you have something available, because you don't want your cash flow to drop for too long. You want to be able just to boom boom do the transition.
Right.
And so
so essentially you're I mean, if I'm to identify with where you're at, you're the person who is, okay, I feel that there's something more for me to do.
Right.
I want to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got these bills. I got this family.
Got these bills, man.
How do I do what I want to do and still survive, in a sense, right? Is that kind of where you're at?
What do you mean by survive?
Like, how do I make payment? How do I make...
Right. So, I feel a peace in my spirit and everything like that to go ahead and make this transition. But I am still dealing with the whole mindset of like, man, it's just what else, oh man,
Right.
Am I tripping, or should I go ahead and maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I just need to let me just chill out for a moment. And every time I do that, it seems as if the last couple of weeks, every time I do that, something else pivotal happens. I meet someone, or something pivotal happens to where it adds a piece to the journey, my gifts, and all the passions I have inside of me to go forward with that. And do you just go cold turkey and just go into it? Do you do it logically? I've battled with that. Do I do it logically? Do I give myself so many months to put back money, so when I do it, then I'll be covered? And then I've just gotten to a point where, like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Wow, what a conversation with my man Arthur Graham. That dude is so wise, so insightful, and I just want to appreciate y'all for watching the very first episode of The Journey, the intro. And the next one we're going to get into is going to be called The Call, or titled The Call. And you can go to our YouTube page, which is titled The Journey, and subscribe there. Share videos with your friends, family, co-workers, whoever. Also, our Facebook page, which is titled The Journey. You can go to that and request to be a part of the page, and I'll just go there and lock you in. As far as the page, you can see the uploads, the different posts that I post out. Also, happy holidays, right? This is the Christmas season. I got my Christmas tree here, and I'm wishing you guys a happy holidays, and we will see you in the next episode, the next chapter that will be titled The Call. All right, see y'all next time.